Hi. If you're watching this, it's because you might have been following my journey for a while. But I'm about to tell you something that you wouldn't know based off my social media. It was about 6 years ago. I was 17 years old. And I was in high school. And I was living the life. I was partying, having a great time, just being so social. Had all these amazing friends around me. Never did drugs because I had a rough upbringing of people who were susceptible to falling into negative habits of doing drugs and drinking alcohol to suppress pain. And I never saw myself as somebody like that. I went to a rave one night though, and I ended up trying Molly for the first and last time. I woke up the next morning after trying it and I looked in the mirror. I looked in the mirror and I just saw somebody I didn't want to see. I saw myself turning into somebody I already knew, who was supposed to be an influence of my life, and she was a very negative influence in my life, and I saw myself turning into her. I felt so lost in that moment, and I decided from there I wanted to do yoga. I didn't know why. I just had this urge that I needed to put my energy into something different, so I decided to try yoga because I had a friend who recently began that practice. And from there, movement became my medicine. I got very, very infatuated with the movement of my body, how I felt, and I began teaching yoga not long after that. As I began yoga, I started to understand what it meant to fuel and nurture my body, so I slowly began to start understanding what my body needed to feel better and less bloated and to have more energy. So I just stopped eating dairy because it made me feel sick. So then fast forward a few years till I was about 21. So it's about 2 years ago. And I had stopped eating meat, I stopped eating dairy, I was just still having so much fun. I was traveling so much, and I come back from traveling and I just remember I was sitting there in my bed and I was so broke from partying, had no money. I was so bloated and felt like shit because I've been drinking so much. I was working out every day, 3 times a day, not just doing yoga. I'm telling you, I was in the gym lifting 3 times a day, sometimes for 4 hours a day. And I was sitting there, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? I had no idea of what I was doing, but yet everybody in the outside world was like, man, this girl is so healthy. So this put me into a really deep depression. I was just sitting there I was sitting there for months. I just hid from the world. And I thought the more I worked out, the healthier I ate, all these things, that I would wake up happy. Well, the only solution I had and what I knew was to leave the country. I just needed to be alone. I just needed to be away from people, away from influences in my life, away from everything you can imagine. I just needed to be away. I had no money to my name. I had about $2,000 to my name, so I decided to move to Bali. Out of all places, it was just where my heart was pulling me. Once I got to Bali, I was still so depressed. I had a broken heart because I just broke things off with a boy that I was in love with. Was still bloated, and I was just feeling like nasty in my skin, and I had no ambition to work out, but I got very into yoga again. And through the time being there, I really started to face things that were suppressed, and I could really start to feel myself releasing this energy of just these things that was holding me back, these things that was from when I was a kid that bothered me back then and I was still feeling pain from. And I felt so alone, and it was like that fear factor of being like, man, more people can see me now that I'm hurting than I was when I was at my top, when I was happy, because I wouldn't let people to see me for who I am. And once I broke out of that bubble, once I left that country and I came home, I started seeing people for who they were. Not enough. I don't feel that I was doing that enough, and that's a problem within myself, but things were okay then. it got to the point where, like, man, I do know how to fuel my body. I found so much balance. I wasn't poor anymore. I had money coming in because I was doing things I liked. I was nurturing myself both all mentally, physically, and emotionally. I decided not to give a fuck what anybody told me my body needed. Because I learned that there's no quick solution. The only way you're going to be able to fuel your body and to live a life of abundance, health, and happiness is if you take the time to truly understand what it is you need for yourself. It's not going to happen overnight, and it also is, you don't have to leave the country for it. But just know that it is possible. The life you want to live is possible. Going into my present day, now I feel so alive and in my skin. I know exactly what it is, what I want to do in this world, because I have so much clarity. I eat the way my body needs me to eat. I work out to feel good, not just to look good. I'm about to set off into an adventure to help other people find their light in their life like I found. I hope we cross paths one day. And if not, know that virtually you have a support system. I'm right here. I've been there.